Welcome back to the class. Now, in this section, we're going to be looking at working with worksheets. And specifically, we'll learn creating a worksheet, rename, delete, copy, move, hide, unhide, color, and group worksheet. So we are talking about inserting a new worksheet, talking about renaming it, coloring, yes, we want to learn how to hide and then unhide a worksheet within a workbook, and then how to move or copy a worksheet from somewhere to another. Then deleting worksheet. How do we delete worksheet? How do we select and group worksheets? And then, of course, how do we link worksheets in calculation? Okay, so, but before we go into that, we want to understand what's a worksheet in the first instance. When you view an Excel application, at the bottom of the application, you will see sheet tab that shows the sheet name and the number that you are. So the term worksheet used in Excel document is, of course, a collection of cells, organized rows and then columns. So it is the working surface you interact with every time you use the Excel workbook. Each Excel worksheet contains 1,048,576 rows and 16,384 columns. And of course, serves as a giant table that allows you to organize information. So typically, a workbook contains several worksheets. So we can call a worksheet a unit of a workbook. So a workbook contains several worksheets with related contents, and only one of the worksheets is active at a time. So you can only work with one worksheet at a time. So like I said earlier, a worksheet is a unit of a workbook. So in the object hierarchy of the Excel application, the highest level of it is actually the application itself, followed by, so if you're drawing a chart, a flow chart or a relationship chart for objects, for the Excel object, the highest level is application, followed by workbook, followed by worksheet. And of course, under the workbook, we also have what we call the chart sheet. Okay, so when we use the shortcut for creating a chart, you are going to see a chart sheet. And then under the worksheet itself, we have range and array or table. So these are three objects that you find in a worksheet. It's either you find a range of data or you find array. Array is also the same thing as range. And then, of course, a table, which is a collection of related records. And then after that level is the cell. So when we are talking about object relationship, this is how they flow. So the worksheet is just like a page in a document that you have in the workbook environment. Now, in this section, we will be working with worksheets. And of course, we'll look at inserting a worksheet, deleting a worksheet, move or copy a worksheet, renaming a worksheet, hide or unhide a worksheet, and then, of course, coloring the sheet tab. So to insert a worksheet, the easiest approach is just to press the plus sign. For every Excel workbook, when you have series of worksheets, you will see a kind of a sign at the sheet tab. After all the current sheet tab, you'll see a plus sign, and when you click it, it will create a new sheet. So that's the fastest way to create a new worksheet. So just by pressing the plus sign, you can see additional sheets created. Okay, so That creates a worksheet. You can also right-click on the Sheet tab to create a worksheet. Okay, you can right-click on the Sheet tab, on the current Sheet tab, and just simply go to Insert. But this will provide you with options. Options to create as a template. Of course, choose some certain template, maybe it says report, for instance, and create, or just create as a ordinary worksheet. So when you choose worksheet and you click OK, that creates a worksheet. Then another way is to use the shortcut key, which is Shift F11. Hold down the Shift key and press F11, and that will create a new sheet for you. Okay. So I'm going to use the opportunity that we have created some sheets to show us how to delete worksheets. So you simply right-click and press delete. Right-click on the sheet tab and press delete. Right-click on the sheet tab and press delete, and right-click. So there's a way to delete all open worksheets at the time, but we are still going to come into that. But for now, just want to show you that creating a sheet. So if you use the Shift key and function key F11 together, Shift F11 will create a new worksheet for you. So that is another approach. So the shortcut key is holding down the Shift key, and then you press the F11 function key. Okay. And then the other one is to right click on the Sheet tab and select Insert, and then choose Worksheet and click OK. And then yet another way is to just simply press the plus sign after the sheet to insert a new worksheet. And when you don't want it, you right click, and from the options you see delete, where you can delete a worksheet that you don't want anymore. Okay, so when a worksheet contains a text, Excel will ask you, do you want to delete? But if it doesn't contain any text, it will just delete without showing you or requesting for anything. All right, so now in this section, we will be looking at how to color the Sheet tab. As you can see, these worksheets are colored, but the new one that has been created is not yet colored. So this is red. So let me right click on this to color a sheet tab. You right click on the sheet tab, and then you will see the option tab color. And all you need to do is to pick the color you want. So if I pick dark red, for instance, pick dark red, that's the color becomes dark red. So you can only see the color when you move away from the sheet. You see it clearly. So if I want to change this, I can still come tap color and then maybe dark green. So that is how to apply tab color. So all these, you just pick the color you want, you click on it, and the sheet will be colored. So that's how to change tab color. Then, of course, let us also look at how to rename a worksheet. Okay, renaming a worksheet. So to rename a worksheet, you just simply right-click on the sheet and select from the options rename, and then you can now put your new name that you want to put. And if another way you can do it is if you double-click on a sheet tab, it will make it active for you to just overwrite whatever name that you have there before. So if you double click on the sheet tab, it will be active, and you can remove the name there and just put the new name. So you can double click or right click and select rename. So these are the quick ways that you can rename a worksheet in Excel. And you can also rename a worksheet by going to the Home tab, and on the Home tab, you can come to Cells Group, and then you see Format option. Just just left click on it, and then you will see Rename Sheet. So you can rename a sheet. You can also do tab color from this Home tab and the Format. You can do tab color. You can do move and copy. You can do hide and hide. So most of the worksheet tags are also here. Okay. And if you want to hide a worksheet, you can hide a worksheet by simply right-clicking on it and select hide. The sheet is hidden. So if I want to hide this general report to hide, this new name, hide. So if I right click and select on hide, you will see all the hidden worksheets. So but you can only do them one by one. You can only unhide them one by one. You cannot make multiple selection to unhide. So to unhide this, I'll just click on it and click OK. Then it returns. If I right click again, unhide, I'll click new name, OK, new name return. If I right click, unhide, January reports, January reports returns. Okay, so those are some of the things that we can do with our worksheets. We can rename, we can change the tab color, and we can hide. So now in this section, we're going to be looking at how to move or copy a worksheet, how to move or copy a worksheet in Excel. All right, so we have some worksheets here, and I'm going to rename this. I've double clicked. I'm going to rename it as to February report. All right, so I want to move these two worksheets, the January report and the February report, into a new workbook. So I can do multiple selection, and that is to hold down the control key and click the February. So that helps me to select the two worksheets. Okay, so if they are not together, let's say you were selecting the January report, and then you want to move the two. So from the January report where you are, you can hold down the control key on your keyboard and just simply click the February report sheet, and then just right click and select move. So the move or copy dialog box shows, so you will now select new book. So you drop the list from at the top there to book. You see move selected sheet to book. So you select new book. That's all, and then you click OK. So the two workbook have been moved from that initial location to a new location. As you can see, they are no longer here. They are no longer here. Okay. So I can also make a copy of a worksheet. Maybe I want to make a copy of this marketing budget plan. I can right click on that sheet and select move or copy. And then this time I will just select create a copy. But I still want it to be in the same workbook, so I don't need to change anything here. but I can say move to the end. That is, as you create a copy, let it be at the end. So that is before sheet here. I'll put end. I will not change anything to book, nothing to be changed. Then before sheet, I will say to the end and then create a copy. Then click OK. So you will see that this category chart is now 2. We now have 2 here. Okay. So I want to delete that. Now, we can also create a copy of a worksheet and put it in another workbook. So I want to make a copy of this category sheet, but I want to send it to book 9, which is the new book that I just created that contains February and January and February reports. So I'll say move to the end, but create a copy. Okay, so I'm sending it to book 9. Okay, so that worksheet that was created the other time is called book 9. And then, of course, we have not saved it, but it's still book 9. So move to book 9 and then let it be moved to the end, but create a copy. So which means the one here will remain. The category chart here will remain, and then you just click OK, and that will bring that category chart workbook to this place. And if I go back to the initial location, it is still there. So it is a copy of that sheet that has been created into book 9. So that is how to move and copy a workbook. So we have seen insert, we've seen how to delete, we've seen how to rename, we've seen move or copy, we have seen protect sheet, we have seen tab color, and we have seen hide or unhide. So the last thing that we want to look at under the worksheet task is to group sheets together so as to apply a common task to them. Okay, so I'm going to use this. So I have January, February. So if I to group sheet is what I did the other time. So you simply hold down the control key and select the sheet. So if there are let me ungroup sheets. Now, if there are up to 3 sheets, so I'm going to put March report. So now there are 3 worksheets, January, February, March. Okay. Now, if I want to apply a common text to the 3 reports, that is, I want to type something here, and I want whatever I type here to appear in all of them, in all of the worksheets at the same time. Okay, so I will just point to where I want to put the text in the January report. Then if I like, I can use the control key to do multiple selection, or select the first one and then hold the shift key and then select the last one. So holding the shift key and then selecting the last worksheet will allow you to select all the sheets at once. So it means if you have 100 worksheets, you will click the first one and then you scroll to the number 100 sheet and click it. That will automatically select all the worksheets. Otherwise, you can use the control key to do multiple selection in a situation where you're not trying to group all of them at once. So now that they have been grouped together by clicking this and using the shift key and then clicking the last one, all the sheets have been grouped together. So now I can now type end of the month report. Okay, so that is what I'm typing in January. So, but let me ungroup them because I've typed, I'll click on group. So now this is January sheet. If I go to February, you will see end of month report. If I go to March, you will see end of month report. So anything you want to apply to all worksheets at once, deleting information at the same time, copying information and pasting into all worksheet at the same time, and all those functions, all those tasks, you can group the sheet together for the purpose of achieving that. Now, in this section, we are going to be looking at linking worksheets in calculation. We have 4 worksheets here, and what we're trying to do is to consolidate them using Excel function, Excel formula to link them to calculate all these values, that is, to add European values to Australian value, to Canadian value, and to the United States value, and then, of course, have it as a consolidated report. Okay, so a function has been used here, which we will be seeing in class as we progress, how to use the function. And that one is, you can use AutoSum to do that. And then, of course, that will give you the value. So, but what we're interested in is calculating this. So how do we go about it? How do we consolidate? How do we link this work sheets together? So what we'll do is, the first thing we'll do is to go to the worksheet where we want to consolidate all these values, and then we'll put equal sign, equal sign. That's the first thing you start with, equal sign, and then you go to the Australian sheet and click the first quarter one bonnet value. That will show in your formula bar as European exclamation B4. Then you will put a plus sign again. So then you will go to Australian worksheet and click the quarter one bonnet for Australia, and then you put a plus sign again. So you see that in the formula bar, this is showing Australia exclamation B4. So it's linking them. So you go to Canadian, and then you click the first value, which is the quarter one bonnet value, and that will show you Canadian exclamation B4, and then you put a plus sign, and then click the last one, which is the USA bonnet for quarter one, which is 500. And so at this point, you have added all the values together. So all you need to do is just press enter, and pressing enter, the Excel will add all the values for you. As you can see, I double click on it and then look at the European added plus the Australia plus Canadian plus USA. Okay, so all you need to do is just do this one, and then since we are doing 3D formula, you can use keyboard shortcut method, that is to highlight, just highlight on the one that you have done, highlight to the right, and press Ctrl R, and that will calculate that to the right side. So it will add to the right, and then you can highlight downward, just highlight the 4 and then come downward and use Control D. Control D will calculate downward. So this is the addition of all the values from each of the worksheets. For instance, if we check quarter 4 funnel for all of them, you will see that it is European E5 plus Australia E5 plus Canadian E5 and plus USA E5. So so that is how to do this work. All right, so this is where we're going to stop for now, and bye for now.